Welcome back, everybody. This is Modern with Randy. I am Randy, and today we're going to be talking about the Tron decks. As always, guys, if you like what you're seeing and like what I'm doing, go ahead and leave a like on the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything I'm doing. Love the support you guys have been showing me. But we're talking about Tron, or really just the colorless decks in general. So, figured I kind of go over the three main ones, what makes them different from each other, and essentially what is the reason to play them or not play them, or what you need to do about them. So first off, we're starting with just regular Tron. Essentially, this is what Tron has morphed into as a whole. This is what a relatively stocked list. Obviously, Tron always has some certain numbers where they'll change something, do something. Maybe they'll be playing two dismembers instead of one. Maybe they're playing one more Trinisphere. The list. This is a list I took from the last challenge that I did well in. And it's like this one is playing two Underworld cookbooks. I know I've seen them play one, things like that. But basically, just running over the deck or running through the deck here. The biggest thing to notate about this one is, all the Tron decks, all the colors decks you see, they're going to be playing Devourer of Destiny as a 4 of. Card's amazing. You get to reveal it if it starts in your opening hand, and you get to look at the top 5 cards of your library, and you can put one of them on to the top, and the rest they get exile. So being able to just to stack either Ugin's Labyrinth, Eldrazi's Temple as one of our 2 soul lands, or digging for one of our Urza lands, obviously good. Worst case scenario, it still is a 7 mana 6/6 that when it comes into play, it exiles a non-land permanent that has a color, basically. So still great. Excuse me, great removal spell, great spell in general. Almost every deck we're talking about today is going to be playing Kozilek's Command. It is one of the new Eldrazi Tribal, or Kindred is the new name for it. I don't know why they changed it. Wizards had some article or something about the reasoning, but doesn't matter. It's their new tribal spell for Eldrazi. It's 2 colors and X, and you get to choose 2. So either you make X 01 spawns, Eldrazi spawns, so you get to have extra mana. On the next turn, you get to scry X and then draw a card. You get to exile a creature with converted mana cost X or less, or exile up to X amount of cards from a graveyard. So it's a graveyard hate, it's dig hate, it's mana ramp, and it's removal. This card is amazing. It's pretty much what you're gonna see in any colorless deck. It's just amazing. It's probably half the reason why most of these decks are all running Eldrazi Temple as well. Because traditional Tron never used to run Eldrazi Temple. It would still run Always Dust as like Eldrazi Sorcery. It would still run Eldrazi's. So it's kind of crazy that Kozilek Command has basically put Eldrazi Temple into Tron. And then we're running 4 Expedition Map, Trinisphere as a 2 of here to help to slow down all the low curve decks, make them play a little bit slower. We're playing 4 Talisman as just more mana ramp, 2 Always Dust as removal spells, same with 1 Dismember. And then the biggest thing is here we're playing 4 Emrakuls. We're playing Emrakul the World Awakening, or the World Anew, oh my goodness. Emrakul the World Anew, which is kind of the newest Emrakul to get printed. It's not kind of, it is the newest Emrakul to get printed. But it has the ability to where if you discard it, you can pay its badness cost, which is like 6 colorless. Hence the reason why the deck running 2 Underworld Cookbook. You're able to discard it, make it cost a lot less to cast than 12 mana, and then when you cast it, you gain control of all creatures target opponent controls, and then when it dies, you sacrifice all creatures. So notably, it's a one-sided board wipe, essentially, where you're able to steal your opponent's creatures. You can do this obviously as early as turn 3, especially if you hit Tron. Like you go turn 1 Underworld Cookbook, turn 3 play Tron, discard Emrakul the World Anew, pay 6 mana. Now you have a wonderful creature. Plus we're running Emrakul the Promised End, and then we're playing Karn with a whole Karn package in the sideboard. And obviously we're playing 4 One Rings, because why would we not be playing One Ring? We just want to keep drawing cards. That's always been Tron's biggest thing. The biggest difference about this deck compared to the rest of the decks you'll see is it's attempting to go bigger or better than most of the other colorless decks that we're seeing. So that's kind of always been Tron's thing, right? Is Tron's always been going bigger or going over the top, right? If you remember way back when Tron was playing original 7 mana Karn as a planeswalker, it was always attempting to go big, and just have these must answer haymakers. Now it's still doing that, but it gets to play a bunch of better spells around it as well. So yeah, these are kind of like the three big cards. Like I was talking about Emrakul, the World Anew. It has that madness cost where you can pay 6. Um, you gain control of all creatures, target player controls, has flying, protection from permanents that were cast this turn. Then when it leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. So we get to gain their control of their creature, and then even if they do destroy our creature, get rid of Emrakul somehow, we just sacrifice all the creatures and they never get them back. Karn the Great Creator, obviously a staple in these Tron decks. Being able to have a Wisp sideboard basically that you can get and answer pretty much anything you need. Amazing. And then Transfer is one that is played mostly in the traditional Tron list because it's just so good. You know, we don't play any spells basically that cost less than 3. So it doesn't hurt us in any way, shape, or form. And it just helps us essentially, and it slows down our opponents. The next one we're talking about is the mono green Tron, or it's not really mono green Tron, it's like the Eldrazi Tron is kind of what it's been referred to as. Some of the big differences here is like you notice we're playing a lot more creatures, or a lot more low mana creatures, right? Like we have Sowing Mycospawn, we have Thought-Knot Seer, and then of course we're still playing Devourer of Destiny, and then we're playing 2 Ulamog and Ceaseless Hunger is kind of like our big spell, along with 1 World Breaker here. We're still playing 4 Expedition Max, we're still playing the 4 Kozilek's Command, still have Karn for the Karn the Great Creator for the Wish sideboard, Always Dust, Talismans, Dismembers. Biggest difference here is that we do have a green splash essentially for that Sowing Mycospawn as well as World Breaker. Still Karn sideboard. Notice that the transfers that traditional Tron was playing is now we have one in the sideboard instead. So that is a little bit different there. And then this person opted to play a ring in the sideboard to help get it with Karn the Great Creator. I think you should personally play 4 rings main. That's just my opinion with the Karn package, because your turn 4 you want to be either playing Karn or you want to play the 1 ring. And I think you just want to optimize that with playing 8. Obviously, different builds, different people's takes. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know everything by any stretch of the imagination. I also don't play a ton of Tron. So, like I was saying, you know, biggest differences here is, you know, playing 4 Thought-Knot Seer, 4 Sowing Mycospawn, which is a really good card as a whole. So when you cast this spell, you get to search your library for a land card and put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. Kind of amazing because we have, you know, we're playing all the Tron lands, we're playing Ugin's Labyrinth, and we're playing Eldrazi Temple. So it's all those spells, or all those lands that essentially always should tap for more than 1 mana. Just being able to help fill out that curve is nice. It also has a kicker too for 1 in the colorless, and then when you cast a spell, if it was kicked, you get to exile target land. So it's also removal and slowing down our opponents, especially because we're going to have more mana than our opponents. Almost always, obviously that's not guaranteed. And then, like I said, we're still playing Karn the Great Creator because card's good. It's awesome to have. Now, this is probably what I consider the best Eldrazi, colorless, Tron variation deck you want to call it. So this is Red Green Breach. Now you notice the biggest difference here is we're playing, you know, the 8 soul lands for sure, but we're not playing Tron. This one's not playing Tron at all, and it has a little bit different build as a whole. So we're still playing, you know, Sowing Mycospawn like we were playing in the Green Tron version. We're still playing Devourer of Destiny for obvious reasons. Card's great. Kozilek's Command as well, because again, card's great. We're still playing the 1 ring because who doesn't like to draw cards? And we're still playing Always Dust. So pretty much all those things are still the same. The biggest difference you'll notice here is we're playing 4 Talisman for the Red-Green Talisman to help hit our colors. We're also playing 4 Ancient Stirrings to help us dig for those colorless spells. And then we're playing 4 Emrakul the Aeon's Torrent, the OG Emrakul. And we're playing the new Ulamog the Defiler. So, the whole gameplay of this deck is to through the breach our opponent. Basically. So, obviously, I think this deck is a little bit better because I think it has a faster game plan than most of the other Eldrazi lists that we've seen. We still get to interact with our opponent with Sowing Mycospawn. We get to, you know, help mana ramp out ourselves. And then on top of that, just through the breach is such a hard-hitting spell as well. Like being able just to, you know, through the breach an Emrakul or an Ulamog and, you know, have them sacrifice, you know, 6+ permanents. It's pretty much this game ending. It doesn't matter if they're, you know, taking lethal or not. That's just a game ending thing because we kept all our permanents, they have no permanents. And they're at, you know, 5 life or less, basically. So just huge thing, and the reason why I like this deck, I think more than any of the other Eldrazi list, is it gets to play through Blood Moon so well, and it doesn't really hurt you. Like, yes, Blood Moon sucks in the sense of like you have to play a fair breach now. You can't play breach as early as like turn 3, but it is such a better way to have to, like, if you have to fight through Blood Moon, this is the deck I want to take if I'm trying to fight through Blood Moon. And it has such a simplistic game plan, game one, that's just so hard for decks to beat. Like, if your opponent's not running counter spells, this is it almost feels free as long as you can play through the breach. As long as you can cast your through the breach, you're pretty much just going to be dominating against decks. That's why we've seen this deck kind of pop off and start getting more and more popularity. Obviously, the other decks are still doing well. I'm not saying that they're terrible decks or anything like that, but this would be my choice if you wanted to play one of these, colorless Ugin's Labyrinth type decks. I just think that this is a very resilient deck as a whole. The game plan, game one, is very simple. Not to say that it's a bad game plan or hard to or easy to play, but it's very simple-minded in the sense of like your game plan is to play through the breach as early as possible and make your opponent not have fun. You want to have all the fun in that match, and then notably, since we're not playing Karn, we usually play an actual sideboard. This is a list I stole essentially from the last time it did well, or last time it did well when I was making this video, essentially. I'm sure if you watch this in 2, 3, 4 weeks, there's going to be another one that has done well because it keeps popping up in these top 8s, top 16s, top 32s. And so this is just what this player had played. Obviously, I think that pretty much Kozilek Return and Stonebrain will always be in the sideboard. As long as Boros Energy, Mardu Energy still is a good deck, Kozilek Return is going to be a good card, and Stonebrain is going to be a good card as long as Nadu is still in the format, and maybe even afterwards, because it's just being able to take out key pieces, things like that. And especially if this deck stays popular, you're going to want Stonebrain for like mirror matches, things like that. Being able to Stonebrain as early as turn 2, with going turn 1 Ugin's Labyrinth, tap it for 2 mana, play Stonebrain, turn 2, activate Stonebrain, can really put your opponent on the back foot. And then the other spells, I'm not sure how relevant they are, how unrelevant they are, so we'll just have to see moving forward. But as always, guys, if you like what you're seeing, you like what I'm doing, go ahead and leave a like in the video, subscribe to the channel, keep up with everything I'm doing, and I'll catch you guys next time.